Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and esteemed participants. My name is Rahajeng Tunjung Putri. I'm a genetic counselor and internal medicine specialist, and I would like to welcome you to the first international symposium and workshop on medical genetics update from genomic to clinic. This symposium aims to bridge the gap between cutting-edge genomic research and its practical application in the clinic. And I'd like to extend my greetings to Professor Dr. Jurnalis Udin, the Supervisory Board of Yarsi, and Mrs. Haja Zoraida Jurnalis. Also to Dr. Shanti Jurnalis, Spesialis Anak, MKes, Chairwoman of Yarsi Foundation, Professor Dr. Fasli Jalal, PhD, Director of Universitas Yarsi, Professor Dr. Zilfalil Alwi, MMBS, MEd, PhD from WHO Tech, UNESCO Chair on Human Genetics of Thalassemia, and also the Vice Rectors, Deans, and Directors of Universitas Yarsi. Our programs today will include the landmark and historical launching of the Afro-Asian Society of Medical Genetics, or ASMG, and plenary lecture session featuring our guest speakers covering various topics such as the Indonesian Initiative on Genetic Diseases, Precision Oncology, Global Globin Network, and the prospect of microbiome in genetics disorder. We will also have the first oral and poster presentation during the Friday prayer time, and we will then return for the first symposium session afterwards. Ladies and gentlemen, we encourage your active participation in the question and answer part of each session, and we remind you to also please silence your mobile phones to ensure the very nice atmosphere that we will have today. Next on the agenda, we will have the Memorandum of Understanding signing ceremony. This MOU will be between Universitas Yarsi and USM, Universiti Sains Malaysia. So I would like to invite Professor Fasli Jalal and Prof. Chandra, and also Prof. Zilfalil. Next, we would like to invite Prof. Dr. Zilfalil Alwi from University Sains Malaysia for a welcome speech, but also to announce the establishment of the Afro-Asian Medical Genetics Society.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang saya hormati Dr. Lucia Andalusia, Director General of Pharmaceutical and Medical Device Division of Ministry of Health, representing His Excellency the Minister of Health, Indonesia, Professor Dr. Jurnalis Udin, Head of Yarsi Foundation. Yang saya hormati Professor Dr. Fasli Jalal, Rector Universitas Yarsi, Professor Pratiwi, the Dean of Faculty of Medicine, para guru besar, distinguished guests from Thailand, fellow colleagues from Malaysia, Bapak Ibu. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Professor Chandra Aditama, the esteemed director of the postgraduate school at Universitas Yarsi, and also to Dr. Wening Sari, the chairman of the organizing committee, for their unwavering commitment and tireless effort. Has been very instrumental in the successful organization of this conference. I would also like to express my sincere appreciation to all those who have played a part in making this event a resounding success, especially to my dear friend, Professor Sultana Faraz. Now, a few months ago, I had the privilege of engaging in discussion with Professor Sultana and also our colleagues from Egypt, Professor Gada, and also Professor Yosser from Tunisia, regarding the establishment of the Afro-Asian Society of Medical Genetics, or the AASMG. In the Indonesian acronym, it is RRSMG. So our vision was to create an inclusive platform that would bring together countries from Africa and Asia to collaborate in the advancement of medical genetics. And while our original plan was to invite representatives from numerous other African countries to join us today, because of time constraint and funding limitation, we could only invite colleagues from Egypt and Tunisia. However, takdir, luck has it that both our colleagues from Egypt and Tunisia could not join us today. So our colleagues, Professor Yosser from Tunisia, could not get approval from the Ministry of Health, her Ministry of Health, at the last minute to travel to Indonesia. And also Professor Gada from Egypt, as you heard from Professor Journalist earlier, could not enter Indonesia because some problem with her passport. So there was a big effort yesterday to get Professor Gada to enter Indonesia, and it took many hours, but unfortunately, in the end, she had to return back to Egypt because of passport issues. So the establishment of RRSMG is timely and significant, as there is currently no association like it. Through RRSMG, we have the opportunity to leverage our collective expertise and resources to address the pressing challenges in medical genetics in Asia as well as in Africa. I am hopeful that in the coming years, we will witness the participation of many more African countries in this association. Together, we can drive meaningful progress in the field of medical genetics and improve healthcare outcomes for population across our regions. I also believe that the establishment of RRSMG presents a unique opportunity for countries in Southeast Asia, including Indonesia, to strengthen collaborations and advance research in medical genetics. And finally, I would like to thank all of you for your support and participation. Let us join forces with enthusiasm and determination to create a better future for medical genetics in Africa, in Asia, and beyond. Thank you very much. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
And with that, we have finally arrived at the establishment of the Afro-Asian Medical Genetics Society. And now I would like to invite all the representatives from the ASMG countries to the stage for a group picture to commemorate this landmark event. So I would So for the official establishment of the Afro-Asian Medical Genetics Society, we will also hit the gong. So Prof. Zilfalil will hit the gong to officially announce the establishment of the Afro-Asian Medical Genetics Society. Thank you, Prof. Zilfalil. We are moving to the plenary lecture session. So this is our main scientific session for today's symposium. And I would like to invite Prof. Chandra Yoga as the moderator of the plenary session. Prof. Chandra is the director of postgraduate school from Universitas Yarsi. He is professor, faculty of medicine from Universiti Indonesia, and also adjunct professor in the Center for Environment and Population Health, Griffith University, Australia.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So colleagues, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, now we are coming to the scientific session. We will begin, we are very fortunate and we are very honored to begin this scientific session with two plenary plenary lecture which will discuss important aspect of the topic that we discussed in our international symposium. So the first speaker will be Professor Zilfalil Alwi. I should read his, is it the CV on the screen? I hope so, but anyway, Professor Zilfalil Alwi is the UNESCO Chair on Human Genetics of Thalassemia and also the member of WHO Technical Advisory Group on Genomics. He is a senior consultant pediatrician and clinical geneticist at the Human Genome Center School of Medical Science, University of Sains, Malaysia, Kota Baru, Malaysia. He is also the founder and the head of the Malaysian node of Human Ferium Project and also a member of the board of director of the Human Ferium Project International, known as Global Ferium, and also held several other esteemed positions. So Professor Zilfalil Alwi will share with us the Global Globin Network, or GGN. Professor Zilfalil Alwi, floor is yours. A big applause for this.
So first of all, I'd like to thank the organizing committee, especially my dear friend, Professor Sultana, for organizing this meeting and also inviting me to share with you all my experience in leading the Global Globin Network. So Global Globin Network is basically about hemoglobinopathies, in particular thalassemia. Okay. It's clear now. Thank you. Yeah. So I would like to start my lecture by highlighting the fact that our human DNA is an amazing molecule. It can adapt and evolve based on the environment, based on the situation, in order to for the survival of mankind. So when malaria became endemic in certain parts of the world, many people died because of malaria, and our DNA adapted and tried to save mankind from falling to this disease. So they changed the DNA that codes for the red blood cell to make it less favorable for the malaria parasite to enter the red blood cell, and to thrive within the red blood cells, and to cause the disease. So, but the change has produced a new disease. The change in the DNA for the red blood cell has produced a new disease, which is now known as hemoglobinopathies. In particular, um, thalassemia. So if you look at the distribution of malaria in the world, you will find a similarity between the distribution of thalassemia or hemoglobinopathies. So because of this evolution and this past history, the relation between malaria and hemoglobinopathies. And unfortunately, the regions where malaria, where thalassemia or hemoglobinopathies are common, these are also countries or regions which are classified as low and middle income countries. And low and middle income countries, including Malaysia, Indonesia, this forms majority of the countries in this world. About 63% of the countries in this world are classified as low and middle income countries, and in many of these countries, hemoglobinopathies, including thalassemia, is very common. And these are also countries where the health system are weak and therefore unable to cope with the care for the disease or the patients affected by this disease. So it has caused a global burden of the disease, where more than 300,000 affected newborns are born annually, and up to 100,000 children with thalassemia major die each year in these LMICs or low and middle income countries. And hemoglobin disorders, including thalassemia, contribute to the equivalent of about 3.4% of mortality in children under the age of 5 years worldwide. And to treat a patient with thalassemia is not cheap. It requires a lot of money for blood transfusion as well as iron chelation therapy. In Malaysia, for example, the Ministry of Health spends about 100,000 ringgit, Malaysian ringgit per year to treat one thalassemia major patient. So the lifespan, the average lifespan for thalassemia patient in Malaysia now averages about 50 years. So for an average lifespan of thalassemia patient, the government, the Ministry of Health Malaysia, spends about 5 million ringgit per patient. So this is a lot of money, and it has caused a huge burden to the health care in the country. So a global burden, a global need requires a global solution, and based on this background, the Global Varium was formed in 2006 in Melbourne, Australia. So the aim of Global Varium, which was known as Human Variome Project, was to collect, to collate, and to curate mutations in all the genes from all the countries, from all the populations in the world, and for the free use of all, to share this information, particularly with for the progress of precision medicine. We have heard from Dr. Lucia earlier about the importance of precision medicine and how Indonesia is also progressing or putting importance in precision medicine. So in order for precision medicine to succeed, you need to have a database of the local population, a genomics database of the local population, and this is what Human Variome Project aims to create. So the founder of the Human Variome Project or Global Variome was Professor Richard Cotton, who unfortunately passed away in 2014, and he was the leadership of Human Variome Project was taken over by Professor Sir John Byrne, which is based in United Kingdom. And upon taking over the Human Variome Project, the Professor Sir John Byrne changed the name to Global Variome. And Global Variome aims to improve health by collection and unification of genomics data, and it is a worldwide inclusive project. Any country can take part in the Human Variome Project, including Indonesia. We have representatives from Indonesia in Global Variome. Now, Global Variome was initiated in 2006, and in 2015 we decided that we need to focus just on two common genetic disease. So the thalassemia or hemoglobinopathies and the breast cancer. So the thalassemia and hemoglobinopathies are more common or more prevalent in low and middle income countries, especially the Southeast Asian country and other ASEAN and African countries. Whereas the breast cancer, even though it's prevalent worldwide, it is more common, the incidence is higher in the higher income country. So two projects were established. the BRCA challenge, which focuses on breast cancer, and the Global Globin Network, or GGN, which focuses on hemoglobinopathies, including thalassemia. So it was launched in 2015, myself together with Professor Raj Ramasa from University of Cape Town in South Africa. We co-lead this project, and so far we have 81 members from 32 countries, including Indonesia. So the focus is on hemoglobinopathies in low and middle income countries by strengthening education and research in the human genetics or human genomics of thalassemia. So the aim is to build capacity for genomic diagnosis and clinical services and research, and to share all the relevant genetic data between the GGN member countries, and to strengthen this international network between the member countries. So far, we have had 32 member countries forming GGN, and we, based on this nine criteria, we have grouped these 32 countries into 4 categories. So Group A is where countries where the services are well established with a national system for prevention and control for thalassemia or sickle cell disease. And the countries which are grouped into Group A are listed in the table on the screen. And Group B are countries where efforts of a partial or fragmented national control program are in place, but with limited accessibility. So this country, the countries listed there, are grouped into Group B, including Indonesia. And Group C are countries where expertise on hemoglobinopathy data collection and management exists, but not part of a sustainable national control program. And those countries listed there forms the Group C, and Group D are countries where expertise and infrastructure for hemoglobinopathies data collection and management are very limited. And 3 countries are listed there. And you can see Brunei is also listed in Group D, even though it's a high-income country, but it still does not have a well-established national control system, a prevention and control system for thalassemia. So based on this stratified classification, we hope that countries which forms the Group D, will aim to go into Group C, and also countries in Group C will progress to Group B, and Group B to Group A, ultimately to Group A. So for those of you who are interested to read about this, the report, it has been published in the Journal of Precision Medicine, and you can find the paper, or you can contact me to have more detail about this stratification. And these are the list of authors from numerous countries, 32 countries, including Indonesia. So through GGN, we hope to offer collaboration in terms of research, capacity building, knowledge sharing, and also advocacy. And these are our list of collaborators and network. And this is just to show the activities that we have arranged from 2016 to 2019. And unfortunately, because of the COVID pandemic, we had to stop our annual activities, which accumulated in the conference on Global Globin Network. So the last conference we held was in Paris, UNESCO Paris. That was in 2019, just before the COVID pandemic struck. And now through Inherent, Ethernet, and CleanGen, we collaborated with these three societies to identify variants and to provide better understanding between the genotype and phenotype correlation for hemoglobinopathies. So Ethernet is a portal for online resources for hemoglobinopathies based in Cyprus. So basically it's a database for hemoglobinopathies, and this table shows the list of contributors to Ethernet. So any country can contribute their data to Ethernet. It's free. So we are hoping that Indonesia will also be able to contribute to the data for Ethernet. This is just to show you the database that we have established in Malaysia for the collection of variants among the Malaysian population. So in total at the moment we have more than 400 variants which has been published based on the Malaysian population. Through CleanGen, We have also established the expert variant curation expert panel for thalassemia and hemoglobinopathies. So at the moment, CleanGen has more than 60 variant curation expert panel of VCEP, and thalassemia has been added to be one of the VCEP. So we are very hopeful that through the VCEP for hemoglobinopathies, we will be able to annotate variants, the many variants, more than 400 that I've shown earlier, to see whether it is pathogenic, benign, or likely to be pathogenic. Now, these are my last few slides. I've been reminded about time, but I'd just like to highlight about Inherent, International Hemoglobinopathy Research Network. I'm hoping that, so far we have not had participation from Indonesia, and I'm hoping that, I would be able to generate interest from the Indonesian researchers. So, Inherent plans or hopes to study the role of genetic modifiers for sickle cell, beta thalassemia, as well as thalassemia through a large-scale, multi-center, multi-ethnic genome-wide association study. So we aim to collect about more than at least 30,000 samples from across the world, and the goal is to provide a resource of genomic variant data, which will be the platform for precision medicine in thalassemia and other hemoglobinopathies. We have heard from Dr. Lucia about the importance of precision medicine, and also precision medicine in thalassemia there needs to be more focus for precision in medicine in thalassemia, including Indonesia, where I believe that thalassemia is also prevalent. So these are the list of collaborators for Inherent. You can see most of the global initiatives on thalassemia and sickle cell are part of Inherent. So far, we have had more than 200 experts from 110 organizations spanning 45 countries across the world who have joined Inherent. These are the samples that has been pledged by the members of Inherent. As you can see, Asia, most of the samples are thalassemia samples, and the other parts of the world, Africa, America, and Europe, most of the samples are the sickle cell disease. So the organization of Inherent is based in Cyprus, headed by Dr. Petros Kounteris, and there are 5 working groups: clinical working group, genotyping, data management, ethics, and knowledge translation. So all the activities of this working group are developed based on the main Inherent objective, that is to collect data from various ethnic groups across the world and to find the genotype-phenotype correlation. So you are most welcome to join Inherent and to join in any of these 5 working groups, to be a member of any of these 5 working groups. So Inherent's large sample size, at least 30,000, will enhance the statistical power for GWAS, and we believe that this will be one of the important global study for thalassemia in the near future. So we hope that more countries from LMICs, the low middle income countries, including Indonesia, will be able to join this initiative and to deposit or to provide your data and to share the data with the rest of the world. So please do contact me or to contact Dr. Petros through that email, and the minimum requirement to join this study is just a minimum of 30 samples, including their phenotypic description. You need the clinical data as well, not just the samples, but also you need to contribute all the clinical data as well. So I remember Dr. Lucia presented very well, a very good lecture, a keynote lecture, and she mentioned about the importance of not just genotypic data, but also the phenotypic data, that to complete the equation, to make more sense to the data. So you need to contribute both minimum 30 sample as well as their clinical description. So in conclusion, GGN or Global Globin Network is an effort to coordinate and collaborate globally in combating hemoglobinopathies, utilizing advances in genomics. And we encourage all countries to join in and to tackle the public health challenges, including Indonesia. So it prioritizes capacity building, knowledge sharing, research collaboration, and advocacy. And inherent research, which is supported by genetic variant databases, is crucial for understanding hemoglobinopathy association and improving diagnosis, treatment, and also, most importantly, it will be a platform for precision medicine in thalassemia. So I think that's my last slide. So I just like to leave this message with everyone that the human variant project, the global globin network, the motto is genomics for all, and no one should be left behind, including those in Southeast Asia, including those in Malaysia, and also Indonesia. So lastly, I'd like to acknowledge our collaborators and also the members of Global Globin Network, who I believe many are present in this hall. So thank you very much. Terima kasih.
Untuk Indonesia kita semua ingat Prof. Pratiwi adalah satu-satunya calon astronot wanita Indonesia. Kalau boleh saya tambahin sedikit, waktu masih langsing. Silakan, silakan Prof.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Chandra Yoga. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for the organizing committee to invite me, not as the geneticist like Professor Sultana, but I'm a microbiologist. And as Dr. Silafil just now mentioned, that no one can leave behind. Actually, the geneticists cannot leave microbiologists behind, because my next presentation is very much related with the associations between microbiome, the microbes in our gut and our part of other bodies, and the genetic expressions of the host. I'm sorry I cannot stand up since I just finished the knee surgery, which is still very painful. Okay, so next. So actually, human gut microbiome is there in our human body. Our human body is the host to large numbers of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms, commonly referred to as the microbiota. So these microbes, when we are a small kid, usually they teach us, my teacher teach us that there are good microbes and bad microbes. And we only heard that good microbes is the microbes in our gut. And the bad microbes are microbes causing diseases. But now we know that actually our life has two genomes. One is the genome of our body, and the second is also the genome of our microbiome. So we cannot only rely on the expression of our genome, but also the expression of our genome is very much associated with the expression of the microbiome genome.
And for this session, we would like to invite again Prof. Chandra and Prof. Zifalil for certificate presentation and group photo before we enter the next session. Okay, so we will invite Prof. Zilfalil. Thank you to our moderator and speakers. And now the certificate presentation as well as the group picture. For the participants, we remind you to be back for the next scientific session at 1:25 p.m. in this auditorium. And for now, you can proceed to the 11th floor for the poster and oral presentation, as well as lunch break. And lunch will be available at the poster and oral location. Oh, sorry, it will be at the registration table. You can pick up your lunch at the registration table. For this scientific session, I would like to invite Pak Ahmad Utomo, PhD. Pak Ahmad is a lecturer of Universitas Yarsi in the Biomedical Master's Program. He is also National Committee of Stem Cell Therapy, Ministry of Health, and part of the Biomedical and Genome Science Initiative of the Ministry of Health. And he performed his postdoctoral fellowship in Harvard Medical School in Boston, USA, and has a PhD in molecular medicine from San Antonio, Texas, USA. So to Pak Ahmad, please.
Thank you, Dr. Ajeng. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's going to be a tough session because right after lunch, so all the blood's going into your intestine and trying to digest your food. But let's see if we can do this scientific symposium number 1. We welcome you to this exciting session where we have a lineup of 3 interesting speakers. But before we listen to them, I always told my students, you can expect me to run some survey. And this is what exactly I'm going to do right now. So please get your, your phone ready, your mobile phone ready. So the thing becoming more complicated because human beings have unique genetic variants, right? And what we learn from other countries, say the United Kingdom, they have this UK Biobank genome project. And the Qatari also is doing the same project. And also the Saudi have their own genomic project. You have problem? Hopefully it's okay. Okay, so in order to succeed in this issue of personalized medicine, when it comes to how we can look at the variants in order to say predict a certain risk to get some disease, or to find out whether certain drugs need to have a certain dosage associated with certain variants, or when you have to get treatment, what kind of options you're going to have, right? Okay, so while this probably is trying to show, please join me. Go to your browser in your mobile phone, type menti.com, 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 right? And then it's going to ask you to enter the code. And the code is 49140843. Okay, let me repeat. 49140843. Okay. Can you enter the site? Right? Yeah? Yeah, okay. Repeat. 49140843. Okay. Okay. So the question is, will you contribute your DNA to National Genome Project? So in context of Indonesia, we call BGSI. Yeah. Okay. And there are 3 options. Thank you for participants. We have only about 9. I know there are more than 9 participants in this room. Okay. The first option is yes. The second option is definitely not. And the third option, let me think. All right. So for the first speaker is Professor Dr. Lisa Sharmini Ahmad Tajuddin, MBBS, MMed, PhD, PharM. She's a senior consultant ophthalmologist, glaucoma, and senior professor in Universitas Sains, Malaysia. Her main research area is clinical and molecular research on glaucoma. She's going to deliver a talk about personalized medicine of glaucoma. Prof. Lisa, please join us. If you don't mind, 20 minutes. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon. Yeah, I think it's a challenge to give a talk during this time. I have a very big lunch just now. Thank you, Pak Ahmad, just now, and I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me to this inaugural medical genetics symposium. So let us move to my talk on personalized medicine in glaucoma. Where are we? Right, I have no financial disclosure for this presentation. The rest is have been sponsored me before. Okay, now I'm sure many of you have not heard about glaucoma. Even if you are medical doctors, maybe you have done ophthalmologists many years ago. So let us recap a bit on the anatomy of the eye, as you can see here. As you can see here, there is a cut section of the eye, and at the end there is the optic nerve where glaucoma usually happen. And we have anterior segment and posterior segment. The definition of glaucoma currently is a group of disease. When we are talking about a group of disease, there are many other subtypes with progressive optic neuropathy. Again, the word progressive meaning it is a chronic disease and characterized with special structural changes. You can see the optic disc just now from up to down, and which correlate with the functional changes, which is the visual field. You can see the uppermost is the normal one, and towards the end, the small one is the tunnel vision. At that point of time, it's already blind. Okay, that is what we see clinically. And for the patients, what happened to them is, you can see, due to, this is normal, this is my children's. Okay, if you get glaucoma, as it progressive, you can see now there is still 3, but it's blurry. Then when you progress further, instead of 3, it is 1. And when you reach tunnel vision, you will have only see part of the face. So you can see how blinding is glaucoma is. Okay, once you get
to the next speaker, with the title Navigating Pharmacogenomics Practice in Malaysia, Addressing Realities and Challenges, will be delivered by Dr. Nur Aziati Athira Dawood. Dr. Athira is a registered pharmacist, graduate from USM Penang, and obtained a master's degree in clinical pharmacy from USM Penang and PhD from University of Groningen, the Netherlands. Without further ado, please, Dr. Aziati, your time is about 20 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore. My name is Aizati, but people call me Zeti. You can just call me Dr. Zeti. So thank you very much for the invitation to share some of my experience and a little bit of knowledge about pharmacogenomics. So as mentioned by the moderator just now, I'm a clinical pharmacist. And referring to Professor Pratiwi, this morning she said don't leave microbiologists, right? So I want to say do not leave pharmacists behind. So bring us together in the journey towards the precision medicine. So, so this is the outline of my talk. Only some insights about pharmacogenomics and also the pathway towards the implementation of pharmacogenomics in clinical practice, especially in Malaysia. I know this is a bit small, but basically this is just the journey, the history from before the 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 finding of how genetic variation might affect the drug response and also the risk for the side effect. So this is actually not new. So it started way back from 1856, if I'm not mistaken, and then Watson Crick discovered the double helix, and then moving towards the focal, to coin the word of pharmacogenetics in it's also very small for me, 1957, if I'm not mistaken. So it's actually not new, it's a long time ago. But then towards the 2021, in which there is an international HapMap project and also the establishment of Human Genome Project, then the discovery of more genetic variations are more rapid.
So, let's move to the third speaker, last but not least. His is unique. Professor Dr. Gunadi, PhD, specialist in SPBA, yeah, bedah anak, yeah, subspecialist DAK. So he's a professor in pediatric surgery from Universitas Gadjah Mada, a PhD from Kobe University, and he's also a friend of mine, president of Indonesian Society of Human Genetics, INSAG, and a president of Indonesian Young Academy of Science. Okay, so Prof. Gunadi, are you online? He is actually in Bali doing a training. He's a trainer, so let's wait a little bit. Prof. Gunadi, yes, can you hear me? Still muted? Can you hear me, Prof? Prof, we can see you, but we haven't heard your voice yet.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Prof, can you hear
Suaranya
my voice?
kecil ya, Pak.
Or is that right? Wait, we have to turn up the volumes.
Kalau suara saya jelas nggak, Dr. Ahmad? Iya, tapi suara Dr. Ahmad kecil sekali. Kenapa ya? Tidak saya fullkan padahal. Nah, coba ya.
Okay, so Prof. Gunadi is going to deliver a talk about personalized medicine development in Indonesia. Prof. Gunadi, you have 20 minutes, and then we're going to proceed with the Q&A, if you don't mind. And we're going to remind you, I will stop you, I guess, if you're over time, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you, silakan.
Okay, thank you, Pak Ahmad. First of all, I would like to thank the committee, particularly Prof. Sultana, for inviting me to present my talk about precision medicine advancement in Indonesia. Let me share my slide. And then this is what we done to support the Rare Disease Day, for instance, yeah, not only this but other, for instance, for Fragile X syndrome, etc. And then we do have the annual meeting every year, and this year will be in Malang, East Java. If you want to join us, please. And then we also have the social accountability, including family gathering for the Duchenne, for GMD, for Rare Disease Day. And this is the last Rare Disease Awareness Day on March 2024. And also we have actively socialized the precision medicine, including in Mataram, Lombok in March 2024. And this is the last awareness day for limb-girdle muscular dystrophy in April. And also join us the Directorate General of Pharmacy and Health. And also from other precision medicine therapeutic company from US. And now we will discuss about genomic medicine global and also in Indonesia. And when we are talk about genomic medicine, this is in briefly that since we have to thank Watson and Crick's who found DNA double helix in 1953. Since then, the first DNA sequence have been done for bacteriophage in 1977 and using Sanger sequencing. And then how about our human genome is started 1990 and finished within 13 years for the first human genome. It takes 13 years and it costs very much because using Sanger sequencing. But after the NGS discovered in 2005, then the human genome sequence can be done within a week, and the cost is very, very affordable. And in 2014, the cost of whole genome sequencing reduced less 1,000 US dollar. And we are grateful that in 2023, multiple genomic project and initiative already have been spread across the world.
All right, all of you, please get your mobile phone ready. Type in menti.com, menti.com, and then this time use the code 64854004. Aha, oh, it's a bit too small. I don't know if you can see it or not. Okay, the code is 64854004. Okay, anybody has problem getting the comment? Okay, this is going to be shown live. I have no manipulation whatsoever, and it's all completely anonymous. We're not going to chase you down out of Yarsi. You know why you choose this one? Okay. There are 4 options: yes, no, definitely not, not really, not sure. So the first polling, about 42% of you say not sure. So let's see whether we can swing the votes into whether a yes or a no. Okay. And Prof. Zulfali, I would like to give your comment about this result because Prof. Chandra said if you pray, then you probably can have a better understanding. So let's wait for another 10 seconds. And okay, anybody already choose? Again, it's completely anonymous. Okay, we're not going to know who you are. And thank you. At least one give a thumb up. It's very nice. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, Prof. Zulfali, please your comment.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmad. I think majority here agree to give their DNA, which I think is good and is expected because I think most who attended here, they are being involved in genetics. I'm sure over many years, and I think they understand the benefit of genetics and genomics. But there are also some who are not sure, not really, and totally do not agree. And I take the point that one of the participants mentioned that a trust issue. So this is also not unexpected because I think Dr. Zeti summed up the situation very well. I think we have a group of people who are very knowledgeable, not just in genetics or genomics, but also I think in terms of science, and they read up. And we have another group, who are not really bothered. They accept, and they're happy. If you talk to them, they're happy to contribute. So these are the 2 main groups, and perhaps there's someone in between. So those who are knowledgeable in genetics and genomics, they may have trust issue, which is not unexpected because they feel that it can be misused unless there is a guarantee or there is a clear guideline or legislation preventing this, which is not in place yet. So if you are well aware of the situation, then you will know that it can be abused, it can be misused, especially the information. So then it depends again on your your conscience. Some, even though they are aware of this, they would still like to contribute for the benefit of science. So again, I think it boils down to personality, their perception, their background. You're bound to get differences, in terms of opinion, in terms of their belief, in terms of their standing. But generally, as we can see, I think it's a true reflection. If you ask, you conduct a survey among those who are trained in genetics or knowledgeable in genetics, I think majority will agree that it is beneficial. So you can expect some will not agree because of trust issue or other issues, and maybe some who are still not sure or undecided. But this is, I think, a true reflection. So I mean, this is, to me, is quite expected. So I am not surprised. So in order to have a good buy-in from the public, there needs to be an advocacy, a continuous advocacy, especially by the government. So that will make it very sustainable. So the government has a responsibility to acknowledge that genomics is beneficial for healthcare. It is the way forward. So if they acknowledge that, they can put in place many strategies, many guidelines, legislation, in fact, to ensure that genomics will progress in the country. So I am so happy that the DG this morning, the way she presented, she was very supportive. So, but I believe that the Ministry of Health in Indonesia can play a bigger role in terms of advocacy. So they can reach out, to more people, to explain to them and convince them the benefit of genomics. So Professor Lisa mentioned earlier about social media. This is targeting the younger group. So you need to engage with them in the social media. So influencers are important. If you can get the influencer, social media influencer, I think you call that the term. So to talk about genomics, then you get more people to convince that it is beneficial. So it really depends on the strategy being taken up by the government. Once they have a good strategy, then I think the buy-in will be better. And of course, if they put in legislation in place, safeguarding all the interests of everyone, then we have people, like the few participants who are still unsure or does not agree. You can convert them, to being agreeable. We also need, from young, some policy or strategy to convince them. School children, for example, we need to add more education in terms of genomics, the benefit of genomics in healthcare. In fact, from school, perhaps include in the syllabus, for the secondary school students, the benefit of genomics in healthcare. So that, I think, is another strategy in the long term. So that students, when they graduate from school, they know about genomics. At least they know about the importance of genomics. So I think that should be the strategy, and you need the government, in order to make it sustainable.
Without further ado, I will close the session in this auditorium. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bapak Ibu dipersilakan menuju ke lantai 11 untuk presentasi